Never forget this. What? You were not just another chapter in their story. You were the turning point. The moment everything could have changed, had they been ready. You were not a footnote in their growth, you were the very reason growth was even possible. And just because they weren't ready doesn't mean you failed. It means you were ahead of them. Your decision to walk away wasn't a loss for you, it was a beginning. Because now, your energy is no longer being drained trying to prove your worth. It's being reclaimed, recentered, and redirected toward your own evolution. You are not a victim of their blindness, you are the victor of your own clarity. And while they wrestle with echoes, you rise. While they chase replacements, you build a life that requires no validation. You're not bitter, you're better. Wiser. Stronger. And more in tune with your own value than ever before. You showed them what love looks like. Now, show yourself. Become your own mirror. Reflect back your strength, your growth, your brilliance. Because the real power doesn't come from being missed. It comes from becoming so complete within yourself that no one's absence can shake your foundation again. You are not just a woman who walked away, you are a woman who woke up. And when you rise, you don't just inspire. You transform. So hold your head high. Let the silence speak. Let the past echo behind you as you walk into a future built on truth. This isn't the end. It's the emergence of someone unstoppable. Your walking away doesn't mean you're instantly healed. It means you've chosen the path that leads to healing, even if it's rocky. Some days, you'll feel powerful, untouchable, like nothing, and no one can drag you back into the storm you left behind. But there will also be days when the silence feels heavy, and your strength feels distant. Don't judge yourself for missing someone who didn't treat you right. That's not weakness, it's humanity. You loved deeply. You believed fiercely. That doesn't just turn off overnight. Healing is a process of peeling back the layers, of learning how to sit with your emotions without letting them define you. But each time you choose not to text, not to return, not to justify your departure, you reclaim another piece of your power. You remind yourself that your decision to walk away wasn't based on a lack of love, but on the presence of self-respect. You didn't leave because it was easy. You left because staying meant betraying yourself. And every moment you honor that choice, you build a stronger, more unshakable version of you. That's where true liberation lives, not in forgetting the past, but in finally refusing to relive it. You've always had a powerful energy. The kind that uplifts, motivates, and breathes life into the people around you. But not everyone is ready for that kind of light. Some people don't want illumination, they want comfort in the shadows. And when they met you, they thought they could keep you dim, keep you small. What they didn't realize is that you weren't just a spark, you were a flame. And you don't owe your fire to anyone who only showed up with water. The next chapter of your life is about discernment. Not just who you love, but who gets access to your energy. Your light isn't free. It's earned. And you've learned it now, through pain and experience, that not everyone deserves front row seats to your journey. So protect your peace. Guard your boundaries like your future depends on it, because it does. The people who truly value you will never make you question your worth. They won't drain you. They'll match your energy, uplift your vision, and celebrate your shine without trying to dim it. The most powerful realization is this: not everyone who loses you is meant to find you again. Some are just meant to feel the distance. And that's not revenge, it's alignment. Society often tells women to be quiet, to be soft, to wait, to fix, to stay. But you're not here to play small in someone else's story, you're here to write your own. And maybe this chapter began with heartbreak, but it won't end there. You get to rewrite the narrative. You get to be the heroine who chose herself. You get to look in the mirror and see not what was broken, but what was rebuilt. Too many people will try to convince you that you're too much, too emotional, too intense, too passionate. But those are your superpowers. The right people will never be intimidated by your fullness, they'll be inspired by it. You've walked through the fire, not because you enjoy the pain, but because you refuse to stay in a place where you're not growing. And now, you're rewriting the story that others tried to script for you. No more settling. No more shrinking. No more apologizing for asking to be treated with the same care and effort you give so freely. The pen is in your hand now. And this time, the story will be one where your power isn't questioned, it's the plot. Growth is never painless. It demands sacrifice. It forces you to look at things you once ignored, to feel emotions you once buried, to accept truths you once resisted. But in that pain lies your awakening. You've grown in silence. You've evolved in solitude. And that evolution didn't come from revenge or bitterness, it came from the quiet commitment to never abandon yourself again. When you walked away, you walked into a world that was unknown, maybe even terrifying at first. But it's in that unknown that you've discovered your strength. The strength to choose yourself. To rebuild. To believe again, even when the scars still sting. And yes, you'll have moments where you look back. You'll remember the good times. The laughs. The small, beautiful moments. But you'll also remember why you left, and why you're never going back. Because this new version of you? She's not afraid anymore. She's not waiting for someone else to validate her worth. She knows who she is. She knows what she brings. And she's no longer willing to compromise that for anyone who doesn't rise with her. You are not broken, you're blooming. And this growth? It's just the beginning. You were never asking for too much, you were offering more than they could handle. And now, with time and distance, you can finally see it clearly, you were the gift. Your presence was a privilege. Your love was rare. You gave everything, your mind, your heart, your loyalty, not because you were weak, but because you believed in love. You believed in them. And they couldn't receive it. But that doesn't mean your love was misplaced, it means you were giving it to someone who hadn't yet grown into the person who could carry it. That's not your fault. That's their journey. Your only responsibility was to love from a place of authenticity. And you did that. You gave your all. And now? Now it's time to give that love back to yourself. Because you are still the gift. You always were. The right people will know it. The right people will feel it. And the right person, whether a partner, a friend, or even just your future self, will never let you forget it. Your story is not about being left or abandoned. It's about rising, again and again, until you become so rooted in your power that no one's absence can shake your sense of worth. You were the gift. And now, you finally see it too. Sometimes the most profound message you can send is no message at all. Your silence, steady, intentional, unwavering, speaks volumes. It's not about withholding love or creating drama. It's about finally choosing peace over chaos. When you stop chasing, stop explaining, stop trying to fix what refuses to heal, your absence becomes a mirror they can't avoid. No words are needed. The void you leave behind starts echoing louder than any conversation you could have had. And that silence? It doesn't just make them miss you, it makes them face themselves. Without your affirmations, they are left alone with the truth. No distractions. No comfort zone. Just the deafening realization that the love they took for granted is gone, and it may never come back. Your silence forces them to grow or stay stuck. It's not punishment. It's transformation. Because eventually, they will hear it, not with their ears, but with their soul. And by the time they do, you'll be far ahead, not bitter, not angry, but evolved. That's the beauty of silence. It doesn't shout. It doesn't beg. It just exists. And in that space, change begins. Choosing yourself isn't a one-time decision, it's a daily practice. It's waking up each morning and reminding yourself that you are worthy of peace, love, and fulfillment, even if no one else says it out loud. It's saying no when something doesn't align with your values. It's saying yes to the things that nurture your spirit. Choosing yourself means refusing to shrink just to make someone else comfortable. It's walking away from half-hearted effort, emotional immaturity, and inconsistent behavior, not because you're cold, but because you've finally raised your standards. And the beautiful thing is, the more you choose yourself, the less validation you need from anyone else. Your confidence begins to come from within. You start building a life that reflects your truth, not one that fits someone else's convenience. You learn that you're not selfish for putting yourself first, you're wise. And when you walk with that level of clarity, you no longer beg to be chosen. You simply are. Because choosing yourself teaches others how to treat you. It sets the tone. And over time, it transforms not just your relationships, but your entire reality. Sometimes, the person you loved wasn't a bad person, they just weren't ready. Not ready to be loved the way you loved. Not ready to face their demons. Not ready to rise to the level your presence demanded. And that's not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of where they were on their journey. You saw potential, and you loved them as if they were already living in it. But love can't force growth. Love can inspire, support, and illuminate, but it cannot drag someone to their transformation. That's an inside job. And sometimes, the kindest thing you can do, for both of you, is walk away. Let them meet themselves. Let them feel the weight of what they weren't ready to receive. Maybe they'll grow. Maybe they won't. That's not yours to carry anymore. Your responsibility now is to love yourself with the same fire, faith, and depth you once gave away. To recognize that just because someone couldn't hold your love, doesn't mean your love was too much. It means they weren't ready to hold something real. And that's okay. Growth will meet them when they are ready. And by then, you'll be long gone, free, whole, and aligned with someone who is. Love isn't just about attraction, chemistry, or even history. It's about readiness. The readiness to show up fully. To communicate with maturity. To choose the relationship daily, even when it's inconvenient. The love you offer isn't a fairy tale, it's sacred work. It demands emotional labor, self-awareness, accountability, and a desire to grow alongside another person. And too often, people want the feeling of love, but not the work that love requires. They crave the warmth, but not the weight. But you? You were ready. You were willing to do the inner work, to face uncomfortable truths, to expand together. And now, you've realized that you can't make someone ready. No matter how much you care. No matter how deeply you hope. Love doesn't reach its full power until both people are emotionally available, spiritually open, and mentally committed to the journey. So stop waiting for someone to catch up to the version of themselves you once imagined. Real love starts with two people who are both ready, not just to receive love, but to be love. And now? You're making room for that kind of love. Because anything less is just a lesson. And you're not here for lessons anymore. You're here for alignment. You've already proven enough. You loved them in their darkest hour. You stood beside them when they doubted themselves. You believed when they stopped believing. You fought for the connection long after they stopped showing up for it. You gave your words, your time, your tears, hoping they'd wake up and realize what they had. And for a while, maybe you thought if you just loved harder, sacrificed more, waited longer, it would all click into place. But now you know, your value doesn't live in how long you stayed. It lives in the strength it took to leave. There is nothing left to prove. Not to them. Not to the world. Not even to yourself. You are worthy because you exist. You are enough because you always were. And now, instead of trying to earn someone's recognition, you're channeling that energy into becoming the most grounded, vibrant, healed version of yourself. No more over-explaining. No more apologizing for your standards. No more staying silent just to keep the peace. The right people will feel your worth without needing a PowerPoint presentation. And the wrong ones? Let them go. You've got nothing left to prove, because the way you love is already proof enough. This is not the end. It's the becoming. The moment your pain became purpose. The chapter where you rose, not in spite of what happened, but because of it. This is where your healing becomes your home. Where your past no longer defines you, it refines you. Every tear you cried watered a new part of your soul. Every sleepless night built your resilience. Every moment you thought you'd break was actually proof that you never could. Because you're still here. Stronger. Softer. Wiser. More you than you've ever been. You've outgrown the version of yourself that needed someone else's love to feel complete. And now? You're whole. Not because someone chose you, but because you chose you. This is your becoming. And it's unfolding in real time. In the quiet mornings. In the boundaries you uphold. In the joy you feel for no reason. In the way your soul exhales now that it's free. Let this be the reminder, nothing was wasted. Not the love. Not the pain. Not the silence. It all led you here. To this moment. To this clarity. To this version of you that doesn't just survive without them, she thrives. And that's the real glow up.